Hey everyone, so today what we are going to be doing is we are going to be reviewing the Fear Street movie Netflix trilogy that was released this month. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, this trilogy was based on an over 100 book series that was written by R.L. Stine, actually, the same guy who did the Goosebumps series, and interestingly enough, this was also taken by Netflix, of all people, and they decided to make an entire trilogy, film them all back to back to back, and release them all weekly for 3 weeks. So we got one each Friday throughout the course of most of July. So what I wanted to do was review all three of them in one video, because I felt like it would make more sense to do that in one video than in multiple different other ones, and I just feel like it's cleaner to do it that way than just having individual videos on the same thing each week. So that's what I decided to end up doing. So let's get into reviewing all three Fear Street movies. Also, spoiler warning, because these movies will be spoiled, so yeah. I did make a video on this saying it's kind of brilliant, so I think that kind of sums up what I think about this movie already, I guess. Now, I know some people are probably confused on why I'm talking about this movie again when I already talked about it, but there's still other things I want to say, and I might include also what I did say in the other video. So first off, the post-credit scene, not post-credit scene, the opening credit scene is phenomenal. It's so creative, well edited, and colorful, and just full of life, and it's so intriguing and in a way just interesting, like the way they show all these things. It's just so good. Another thing about this, I think this film probably has the best cinematography and the best lighting out of all three. I think with the cinematography, there's some really nice long takes in here that I think, so while the other two do have those, it's, I think, utilized better in this movie with the way it's shot, with the way it's all, like the way that we're able to see like these long takes, and just the color, the way it's just shot is just, I think, pretty beautiful. But of course the highlight here is the twist. Once again, there are spoilers in this entire video, so be warned. But the movie at first, for the first 2 acts, we think that this is going to be just another generic modern day horror film, but then it completely switches itself onto its head, and we see a more interesting side to it, and it's this whole twist that none of us really saw coming, and none of us really saw the ending coming. I don't think anyone really did. I've never heard anyone say, oh yeah, this was predictable, I saw this whole thing coming. But with it, it's so intriguing because the first 2 acts seem just like a generic horror movie. They seem so, run-of-the-mill, and like we think, oh yeah, they're all gonna survive. Nope! In fact, 2 of them die. One of them from meat grinder kill that everyone always talks about now whenever they bring up the kills in this movie, so yeah. But even then, at the end, we think, oh yeah, well, it's gonna be a nice happy ending. Nope. In fact, the lover to Dina, I think her name's Sarah, and she ends up getting possessed in the movie, and that's just how it ends. It just ends like that. And I think that just makes it so, different. I've never seen a modern day horror movie end like that. It's a whole twist on the genre, and I really do love that, because I think we need movies like that, because there are these cliches that are in here that are always in other horror movies, and I feel like this one, if it gets enough attention, could be not exactly a groundbreaker like something like, Psycho, but it could be something that could sort of twist the way we view movies, kind of like what Get Out did, and where it's sort of a little bit different, and it sort of makes some movies that sort of try to go to that idea and sort of take a bit of inspiration from that. But even this movie does that. It sort of did that inspiration with Psycho, which is killing the main character off, or who we think is going to be the main character. I know that's also inspiration from Scream, but I also got that from Psycho, so yeah. It's just a great overall film, and just the way that it sort of sets up this world. It gives us these subtle little hints throughout the movie of what the world's going to be, and of course, then we end up getting a lot more about the world that's a lot more intriguing and just interesting. And on top of all this, it's very entertaining. It's very fun, and probably the most fun I've had out of all 3 of these movies, I would say. It's not my favorite, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't want to spoil anything. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But it is a really great horror film. I will say where my issues do lie is the fact that sometimes the cliches just get too bit annoying. and just don't really work for me, especially with the comedic guy. Some of the jokes they just made me cringe. But besides that, it's definitely a really interesting and fascinating horror film that for today, and how it takes the cliches that we got for today and goes in a completely different direction. Now on to the next one. I'm going to be honest, this movie kind of did disappoint me. Now, the first one isn't perfect, but I think it's a pretty great horror movie that sort of twists modern day, the horror genre. And while I was intrigued about this one because it's going to be a movie set in a camp, which I'm guessing, I haven't seen the Friday the 13th films, but I was supposing that's what it was going to try and spoof off of. The issue with this film is the fact that, the thing is, because I was expecting some sort of twist to twist the whole thing, I saw the twist kind of coming. And while a lot of people say of how interesting the twist was and how intriguing the twist was and how unpredictable it was for them, I saw it coming because I kind of did see some sort of twist coming, and when this did happen, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, while it does make more sense for Sydney to be her, the unpredictable route would be for Ziggy to be the one that would end up being the lady that survived. It would be the more unpredictable route, and since the last one was a movie that had this unpredictable twist, I saw the twist in this movie coming because I was expecting something like that. And that happened, and I mean, beyond that, it's not that great of a horror movie. There are definitely some plot holes, there are definitely some issues, and there's just things that don't really satisfy me, I'll say. The characters aren't nearly as interesting, I will say, which I know wasn't in the other one, but the thing is, there just isn't anything to really like about them, and they're just kind of bland and boring, and we spend a lot of time with them, even more time. The killers don't show up a lot later in this movie than they do in Fear Street 1994, which in that film they showed up a lot earlier. So it wasn't as straight to the point. It wasn't as entertaining, I guess. And another thing, this movie has a weird obsession with orange and green at certain points, even though there's no like orange and green lighting. It makes sense for them to be like these sort of blue and purple lighting on a lot of the times in Fear Street, because those are sort of the lights at night. That's like how like stuff is at night. But why is there orange and green in this movie at all? It just doesn't make sense. It's a weird thing that they decided to add into this movie. Now, I will say I don't hate this movie. It does add some ideas. It does add some things to the lore that we didn't know about, and I do like that. And once it does actually get going, it's kind of fun. It is. And even with the twist, even if I didn't see it coming, it is in and of itself kind of a good idea, because it sort of twists this sort of genre that it's parodying off of in a way. But beyond that, I didn't really like this movie very much. Okay, so unlike the second film, I actually didn't see the twist coming this time, and I actually thought it was pretty well done. I feel like with the twist in this one, it's a lot more surprising because it just sets it up in a way where you completely think it's going somewhere else and it distracts you, and then when you realize what's actually going on, it's just like, wow, didn't see that coming. It's very unsurprising. I feel like out of all the twists we have gotten, even though the first one technically wasn't twists, it was an unpredictable ending. With the third one, it feels like, I think, the best ending. Well, not exactly the best ending, but the best twist, the best spin on what it's trying to do. Another thing I like about this movie is the fact that it still gives us a whole hour of time to spend time with these characters, to spend time with the whole world and the idea of what happened, actually. I like that it took its time. It wasn't that, oh, they figured it out and there's this whole exposition scene where they tell us everything that's going on, or they just kind of show us a little bit of it and then we start to understand it. No, they take a whole hour to let us know everything that went on and that really happened, and I like that and prefer that a lot more than just sort of telling us, hey, this wasn't actually what happened, Sarah's innocent. But they decide to take the better route, in my opinion. Another thing is that I just really love the world. I think out of all these movies, the story, the idea, the concepts, and the way the story is built up is pretty interesting because we don't get to know everything throughout these movies. As the farther we go back in time, the more we get to know about these movies. So I guess I just kind of wanted to add that into what I've been saying because it's just kind of true, and I feel like it just adds a lot to it, especially this one. This one adds, I think, probably the most to the whole idea and the concepts of what's really happened in this. I will say we do get sort of an appearance from the first killer. I forgot his name, but we do get an appearance from him in this movie. I kind of wish we had more of him a little bit, but at the same time I feel like that'd be too distracting. Maybe it's just me kind of wanting and being intrigued by the ideas of these killers, and I feel like the stories could make a cool Netflix series. I've said this a couple times before when I'm talking to people about this. This could be a really good Netflix series if they actually tried to come up with some sort of where each episode is from each sort of killing. I feel like that would be really cool. But anyways, getting back to this movie, once again, the cinematography I think is quite good. The editing as well. They're just really nice, technically made. It's not like it always shows you this. It's not like it's insanely stylistic. I feel like the first one is the most stylistic. But it definitely does have some nice shots here and there, and you can tell, hey, these aren't made by people that don't know how to do filmmaking. Another thing that I actually really like about this film is the fact that the acting and the dialogue's a lot better, kind of showing us that they sort of did that sort of bad acting and bad dialogue just to kind of, you know, sort of make us feel like this is a cliche world with cliche characters, but then twisting it on its head with these twists and unpredictable things that start to happen. I don't know, I feel like the acting wasn't as annoying and it wasn't bad, and they were just, okay, well, we've done our twists, let's just have some good acting and good dialogue. And the interesting thing is, the guy from Game Shakers is I forgot what Triple G, why the heck do I know this? What am I saying? He's in this and he's actually kind of okay, so yeah, it turns out he wasn't a bad actor. Anyways, getting back to the actual movie. Like I said before, the dialogue and the characters, they're well built up. They act pretty well. You buy their characters. It's really well done in those aspects. Another thing is the payoff is quite well, and you don't even realize it in the first two movies until we get to the third one, and you realize how, well, really great of a payoff it is, especially with everything that has happened in them. And when we get that payoff, while it does seem small on its surface, when you really think about it, it's kind of satisfying in a way, and you really do kind of are like, yeah, let's go. It ended. Of course, if you saw the credit scene after the movie, you would know apparently they're going to hint at some other adaptation or something else, which honestly I just want a Netflix series for all the other killings. That's all I want. Okay, just give me that and I'm happy. I don't want another trilogy, really, if I'm being honest. Where would they even go from now? But, yeah, whatever, I guess. I mean, it's still cool and interesting after credit sequence, and I didn't know where it was going to go, and when it happened to where it went in, it was just kind of interesting. I will say that much. It's a really nice and satisfying movie that's pretty great in and of itself, if you really think about it. The story, the characters, I guess, and the ideas in the world. If you really think about it, with all three of these films, they have all these interesting stuff that, honestly, I would want more than just 3 movies from. Like I said before, I would be very interested in a Netflix series where we take these stories and we seal the killings in each individual episodes. I don't know if that will happen. I don't think it will happen. Maybe it will. If it does, I would love that. And maybe I'd even make a video saying how happy I am they would do that, but I don't know if that would happen. But yeah, this is a pretty great film. I think this is my favorite out of all of them. I guess my ranking would be number 3 would be 1978, number 2 would be 1994, and number 1 would be 1666. Okay, so that is going to be the end of the video. If you like me doing more of these videos where I review some sort of franchise or trilogy in one video, if you prefer this type of stuff, let me know in the comments below and let me know what other ones I should do. I'm planning on doing book reviews and a lot more music reactions. I have some ideas for that as well, but I might not be posting as consistently because I'm still planning on that mixtape to be coming. Who even knows at this point? Maybe I want it to come. I want it to happen. But, of course, I have a Twitch link in the description hopefully, or it's on my About page. You can just go onto there, onto this channel, and then I want to start maybe doing live streams on there instead of YouTube. If you guys want me to prefer doing live streams on Twitch instead of YouTube, let me know in the comments below, and maybe I will consider doing that. Also, go follow me on Letterboxd, Music Board, Instagram. That's either going to be in the link in the description, or if I didn't bother to put it there, go on my About page. I have all my socials on there. I have all of them linked, I think. And yeah, that's really all I got to say for this. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, that's all I really got to say. I'll see you guys in the next one.